And I was reading a book on William Wilberforce, and I can only say that I had an encounter with the Lord, and I had a calling to raise up a prayer movement for the ending of abortion in America, because this is a historic justice wound in the nation's history, just like slavery, just like segregation. I believe we're in another moment of one of those kind of situations that only come once or twice in a century. And it is the shedding of the innocent blood of the weakest and most defenseless. And besides that, we are running into women across the nation who live in a secret silence of pain and regret because of their post-abortion trauma. We believe this at this moment of time, with this call, as we are calling the nation in crisis to prayer, on the 45th anniversary of a month of the I Have a Dream speech, 1963, we are calling the nation to say, how can the dream live as long as the dreams of God's heart, every infant that is being aborted in mother's wombs and really aborted in our political hallways, halls of justice? How can the dream live as long as we don't allow our little ones to live? It is with this passion in my heart that we come here tomorrow to fast and pray for 12 hours, not looking for a political Messiah for our answers. I believe right now America is looking for a king, but what we need is a return to God. And we're coming here primarily tomorrow to say we have to have you. We need a spiritual awakening so that hearts change, so that justice can come into our nation.
I've told people many times, I never got into the pro-life movement because of politics. I got into politics because I was pro-life and believed that the future of the country would in fact rise or fall with how we ultimately treated each other. That's the way civilizations are remembered. How does a civilization treat its own? And the consistency of that, I would say, even in the debate questions during the campaign. I was asked, what did I think the greatest issue facing America was by Will Blitzer in the CNN debate. And I think perhaps he and maybe the audience expected me to say, well, it's the energy crisis, or it's the economy, or it's the war in Iraq. But I said what I'm saying to you today, that I believe that how we treat life is the most important issue, because on that every other decision will ultimately be made.
This issue of abortion, as Lou has already said, is at a root of justice issue. Who will speak for those who cannot speak for themselves? I believe that's critical. But once again, though, there's a role for the black community to play in this tremendous challenge that we have here about abortion. Abortion is tantamount to what I'd like to call a new black genocide, And although there are many other issues politically that people want to talk about concerning race relations in America, many are overlooking the fact that 1,200 black babies a day are aborted every single day. And it's one of the reasons why the black community is losing pace in terms of the number of citizens in the nation and the ramifications of its political influence and many other things. There's a genocide that is going on that we need to stop. I'm a part also of a coalition of ministries that have come together, predominantly black groups, that are saying it's time to defund the Planned Parenthood. Because that group gets over $305 million out of a $1 billion budget from the government, and so much of its energy is focused toward the least of these, the unborn, who can't speak for themselves. But many of those unborn, as we say, happen to be black, and we need to make sure that the government is not paying for this kind of pandemic, extortion, extermination of citizens.
While I share in that disappointment that many Christians have with some of our elected officials and their failure to affect change when they have the ability to do so, I would also suggest it is not right to assign that responsibility solely to our elected leaders.
Amen.
The breadth and the depth of the challenges facing this nation are beyond what government can solve. In fact, while we wrestle with these issues of life, marriage, family, poverty, and justice, just to name a few, these issues are not political problems at their core. They are spiritual problems. And it must be the church and the spiritual leadership of this nation that provides the solutions. And the call is a recognition of this need to address the spiritual deficit in our nation. It's not to point fingers at politicians or political parties. It's to assume the responsibility that rightfully lies with us.
And so tomorrow, in 12 hours, young and old will gather together to humble ourselves and point at ourselves first of all, because we have compromised as a church. We're not pointing the finger at everybody else. We're pointing the finger at our own failures. The pornographic plague has filled our own pulpits. We need to change. We need to be those who are not silent. We need to be those who live a life of caring for the poor and the needy. We're going to call on God to change us. And then we're going to cry out to God to change our nation. Hopefully, we'll see a turnaround. Thank you.